Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Mike Riley. As long as I have been a criminal defense lawyer, people have been asking me the same questions. Mike, how do you do it? How do you represent people that are charged with really bad things? How do you represent somebody if you know that they are guilty? Well, today I'm going to try and answer these questions. I'll start by saying this line of work is not for everybody. However, there are some of us out there who are passionate about this type of work, who enjoy representing the criminally accused. And if you are one of those people, it is a wonderful career and I highly recommend it. So is it difficult for me to represent people that are accused of crimes? It's not. It's really not. My job is not to judge people. My job is to advocate for people. And that is something I really enjoy doing. I like getting in someone's corner, even someone's corner that nobody else wants to be in, and trying to help that person out of a bad situation. And there's several ways I do it. I do it by telling their story. I do it by advocating for favorable treatment. And if the client decides to go to trial, I zealously advocate for them by making sure that they have a fair trial, that the evidence against them is tested, and any inadmissible evidence is challenged and kept out of the trial. Now, there are limits to what criminal defense lawyers can do, right? I'm not going to go in and start lying on behalf of a client. I'm not going to pass forward documents that I believe to be falsified. And I'm certainly not going to support perjury by putting a client on the stand and allowing them to testify in a way that I believe is untruthful. These types of things are out of bounds for lawyers. Lawyers are prohibited from doing them, and it's a really bad idea for lawyers to go there. So like I said, one of the ways that I advocate for clients is by telling their story. Who is this person? What led up to them coming to court? What were the circumstances in their life? What was their family life like? What was their childhood like? Is there a substance abuse issue? Are there mental health issues? I find that a judge is much more likely to be lenient with someone who is addressing their issues during the pendency of their case. So if somebody gets arrested every time they get drunk and they have a bunch of cases pending, but they lean into sobriety, go to rehab, and have a documented, demonstrated history that they're dealing with their issues, I think a judge is going to be much more likely to go easy on that person. So it's important for me to understand who my clients are so I can effectively advocate for them, let a judge or a prosecutor know who they are, what they're going through, and what they're going to do about it. Another way I advocate for my clients is by arguing for more favorable treatment. And again, this ties into the first example I gave about telling the client's story. If you tell the client's story, you could maybe argue that this client is deserving of some diminished punishment or no punishment at all based on the circumstances in their life at the time that they were arrested. One of my favorite judges that I used to appear in front of used to routinely say, "There are no bad people, there are bad acts." And I always thought that that was impressive. Even on some of the most difficult, heart-wrenching cases, the judge would repeat this mantra. And I think it's a very good way to look at the legal system, that we're judging acts, we're not judging people. And that's not always easy to do, but I think that the more experienced, the more enlightened jurists out there certainly take this approach and judge the act, not the person. Another role of the criminal defense lawyer is to make sure that the client has a fair trial. At the end of the day, it's up to the client to decide if they're going to have a trial or if they're going to take a deal. If they are going to have a trial, it's the defense lawyer's job to advocate for them at trial and to really get in the weeds. What is the evidence that the government claims to have against your client? Is there evidence of bias? If there is, it's the criminal defense lawyer's job to bring that out. Is the evidence tainted somehow? Are there credibility issues with the witnesses? The lawyer's going to go in and they're going to bring these issues up to ensure that the client has a fair trial. If there's things like hearsay or items that were seized illegally by the police, the lawyer's going to go in and challenge these items and make sure that the client has a fair trial. A lot of what law school is being trained in how to spot issues, right? And this really comes up at trial. A lawyer needs to go through a case and identify the issues that are going to matter and make arguments either to get evidence in or keep evidence out. So again, for me, I don't have any problem representing people who are accused of serious crimes. I could give you the example of the surgeon. Let's say there's a surgeon, somebody comes in for surgery, they're on the table, they're opened up, and the surgeon learns that, maybe this person killed 12 people, right? Maybe this is a homicidal maniac who's on the table under anesthesia, and all the surgeon has to do is slide his hand one way or the other, nick an artery, and take out that person. But that's not the surgeon's job. The surgeon's job is to do surgery. The criminal defense lawyer's job is to advocate for the client. The criminal defense lawyer's job is not to judge the client. So in order to do this job effectively, you need to be willing to isolate judgment and just do the work that's in front of you. Your job is to advocate for your client to the best of your ability within the ethical boundaries prescribed by law. So what do you think? What do you think about criminal defense lawyers? Could you do this job? Would you want to do this job? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments below. If there's anything else you'd like to hear me talk about, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.